This is FC Barcelona Central. I am your host, Pedro, and trust me, you are not going to believe the bombshell that dropped on FC Barcelona. We've been hit with an absolute shockwave that's forcing us to rip up the transfer playbook and go back to the drawing board. I also have a brand new name added to a summer transfer list. This is an emergency update you cannot afford to miss. Okay, let's start with this absolute bombshell that hit us like a train. FC Barcelona is absolutely stunned and furious after Nico Williams announced his renewal with Athletic Club. This was a punch that we did not see coming, as the club was certain they could close the operation next week if the player accepted the payment on his release clause. The entire operation was ready, and the club found out about the player's decision from an official announcement on his renewal online, which is pretty much being broken up via text message. Even though they have begun to suspect something was weird in the final hours, the anger within Barcelona towards the player and his entourage is monumental because they believe he has used them and they were not upfront in the final hours, leaving us stranded after 15 days of negotiations. The feeling of Barcelona is one of disbelief, much like last year when Nico Williams wore Athletic Club's new shirt. At the same time, he was having a video conference assuring us that he wanted to sign with Barcelona. He eventually decided to stay with them, leaving Barca in the dark. But this year's negotiations were so much more advanced. There was a total agreement on his salary until 2031, and the plans to pay for his release clause were very advanced. At Barca, they believe that Nico's entourage did not play fair and used the Blaugrana club to secure the renewal of his life, a renewal for 10 years. The fact that they didn't even inform us in the final decision is the trick that caught Barcelona off guard and has caused disrespect and anger after numerous contacts in the recent days. The operation began to get complicated when the meeting in Barcelona on June 13 between the player's agent, and remember this name, Felix Tainta, and sporting director Deco had that meeting. In that meeting, the agent confirmed Nico Williams' availability to move forward and transfer with Barcelona after last year's fiasco. When that meeting became public, Athletic Club ramped up the pressure on the player and his inner circle, and even filed a complaint with La Liga and requested an audit of Barcelona's account. Nico Williams' stance seems so firm and has optimism grew in Barcelona, even more so that when the contract's numbers were accepted by Nico and his entourage, it was considered a done deal. But then the problem started. Nico's circle, who have hinted on some flexibility in the clause payment, suddenly demanded a very stringent and weird guarantee about the player's registration. Later, they opened up and reformulated the agreement with an escape route from Barcelona, such as a transfer or a loan if registration became complicated. Felix Tainta called Barcelona half an hour before the official announcement to clarify that if they didn't accept this strict release clause, the operation would break down. And again, he did not warn them at all about their renewal. And then boom, the bomb dropped. All these advancements clearly indicate that Barca wanted to sign Nico in the summer, but Nico's final answer was delayed. The payment on his clause was postponed until next week to give the player and the agent more breathing room. All this leading to his announcement of renewal until 2035, something that has left the Blaugrana executives stunned. Indignation is definitely an understatement, but they are already working to continue to strengthen the squad. As Dani Olmo put it online on his social media when he posted a picture of himself touching his heart and the Blaugrana badge with two hearts representing the club's color. A clear message of his loyalty contrasting Nico's decision. This truly echoes Deco's words back in May, saying that last season we thought of two players to bring to the team, Olmo and Nico Williams. But from the first moment, Dani Olmo wanted to come to Barcelona and show some confidence in the project, and it was obviously easier. But for Nico, well, the history indeed repeats itself. With this bombshell, we have to go back to the drawing board. Now, contacts will have to resume to sign a top-level winger. Luis Diaz from Liverpool and Marcus Rashford from Manchester United are definitely two big alternatives. Though Nico's no will complicate negotiation because clubs all over Europe are fully aware of Barcelona's urgent need for our attacker. Barcelona put all the eggs in one basket after his agent Felix Tainta requested a meeting with Barcelona to confirm the player's ability to sign this summer. When that happened, they advanced contact with Luis Diaz, whose salary agreement for 4 seasons has been reached, were put on hold. And with Rashford, after Barca met with him a few weeks ago, everything was frozen because of Nico Williams. Now the case scenario is definitely changed, and things are so much more complicated. Deco's personal preference has always been Luis Diaz, and he has defended the Colombian internally within the team. We're going to try for him again, even though his signing is so much more complicated than a few weeks ago. Just first because Liverpool has already rejected a very strong offer for Barcelona and continue to declare him as an untouchable. Second, a tragic and unfortunate passing of his teammate Diogo Jota, who is that news definitely paralyzed anything related with the club. This simply is not a good time to initiate any negotiation with this team that have been very deeply affected. So the attention might focus just 100% on Marcus Rashford, a player in Hansi's fleet sees very useful and whose operation might turn out to be the simplest due to the player's predisposition to sign for Barcelona. Rashford sent his brother to Barcelona to make it clear that he only wants to wear the Blaugrana and is willing to do anything, from forcing a loan or to lowering his salary to help us a little bit on our wage bill. Manchester United remains adamant about securing a transfer fee for Rashford and is asking around 40 million, but the time is pressing and their coach Ruben Amorim doesn't want the player even on the preseason. In this case scenario, United is interested in a quick, clean operation, even if it's along with a buyback option. And Rashford is desperate to come, keeping in mind that he's very close to making it. He was close making it happen in January, but he eventually went to Aston Villa. Of course, Barca is aware that if United doesn't want Rashford, it's due to the certain situation that has left him in good standing with the management. There is some caution here. While acknowledging his enormous technical quality, they won't go crazy to signing for him either. This will all depend on how the Luis Diaz case evolves, and also if Rashford makes it very, very, very easy. The positive side for this is securing a loan from the English international with an adjusted salary that could be very advantageous from our financial fair play. And that's how things stand today with our wingers situation. Tomorrow, next week, we're just going to have to wait to see. Another crucial dossier on the desk is a demanding decision in Denzel Dumfries. The powerful right back has been offered by super agent Jorge Mendes because he has a 25 million clause paid before July 15, making it again a very clear market opportunity. Like I said, Sport is empathetic, stating that Barcelona is serious about Dumfries, so serious that in fact that Inter is reportedly already looking for a substitute. The main key for this operation is the player's change of agent in the recent weeks. Dumfries has left his previous agent to join Jorge Mendes, who has exploited this favorable release clause for teams only outside of Italy and trying to engineer this magical move. Mendes is pushing for Barcelona, who were looking for a fullback to make a move. And the club has given the total okay of the signing, but the financial situation seems to be holding back. Dumfries is one of the few fullbacks that Barcelona had on the list to reinforce the position. The Dutch international and Frimpong, who ended up in Liverpool after the two profiles fit best on Hansi Flick's plan. We actually made a move on Frimpong, but Liverpool signed him and we couldn't even compete with their economic proposal. Dumfries' option has been under study for some time after Mendes presented the numbers, and in another era, this signing will have totally happened. But for now, while there is money on the transfer fee, the salary cap is tight, and the priority is to register players. Barca Sporting Management has confirmed the interest in two Mendes and will make a decision in the matter of the next week, most likely. The first priority is to achieve this famous 1-1 rule and register Johan Garcia, and then try to register Nico Williams. Though now it's totally a different story. After that, Barca plan to make further markets move by signing a fullback and perhaps another defensive player. But in Dumfries' case, the transfer has an expiring date of July 15. After that, his price will skyrocket over 35 million, which makes him unreachable. Dumfries is aware that Barca movement and interest and is more than willing to go through with the operation. Now, everything depends on the club's decision, and Barca is convinced that they will be within the 1-1 rule that could significantly help some outgoing movements, with those of Marc-Andre ter Stegen, Christensen, Pau Victor, and perhaps Casado. This will happen in the next few weeks, and I'll go ahead and bring all those informations to you first. And if that occurs, the club will only have a margin to register more players, and Dumfries will be one of them. I do want to close out switching gears now that we have some crucial news regarding our financial situation with UEFA. The European government body has just sanctioned Barcelona with a total of fine of 60 million euros. Of this 60 million euros. Of this, 15 are obligatory payments, and the remaining 45 is conditional. I think they're going to spread it out between years. This penalty is for breaching the financial fair play rules regulation from UEFA. This new regulation applies for the first time this season, scrutinizing the financial balances from 2023 and 2024. It specifically prevents certain operations from being counted as income, things like asset sales, swaps, or transfer between linked clubs. Barca is one of 6 European clubs penalized for this, alongside with Chelsea, Aston Villa, Lyon, Porto, and Hajduk Split. Our club has reached a 2-year conciliation agreement with UEFA, committing to correct the financial situation before the end of 2026-2027. Beyond this financial sanction, the agreement includes limitation on registering new players on the A list for European competition, with pretty much the UEFA Champions League. These limitations could even get tougher if we don't meet the financial targets set for the coming years. Barca will also face annual monitoring on its account and will possibly get some more sanctions, including an exclusion from the UEFA competition if we break the rules again. Interestingly, we are the second team with the largest fine from UEFA, which Chelsea got hit hardest with a fine of 80 million. Wow, insane. We actually knew this weeks ago that FC Barcelona has reached an agreement with UEFA and to substantially reduce the economic sanction and ensure that we have no sporting penalties. This agreement was reached during the Nations League final between Spain and Portugal. The main point of contention between Barca and UEFA is led by their president, lies in the interpretation of certain extraordinary incomes. What does some type of incomes mean? While La Liga allows the club to count funds obtained through advanced sales of television rights as income, UEFA adopts a more restricted criteria. This means that this type of income cannot be used and it does not comply within the financial fair play. So UEFA only validated 3 types of income as acceptable within the financial balance framework: new income from future stadiums, salary reductions from the squad, and direct sale of the players. Everything else, including long-term rights monetization, is simply not considered valid within these rules. This fine certainly adds another layer of complexity to our financial balance to our financial situation this summer. Wow. So, culés, what a wild ride has been. The Nico Williams bombshell has definitely left a bitter taste, forcing us to make a massive pivot in our attack strategy moving forward. And now looking back into signing Luis Diaz or Marcus Rashford, but let's not forget the crucial deadlines looming and the decision on Dumfries. All while navigating the newfound, weird, crazy 1-1 UEFA financial fair play rules. This summer is proving to be less about smooth sailing and more about intense negotiation and rapid adaptations. What are your thoughts on this latest turn of events? Do you prefer Luis Diaz or Rashford? And who do you think? And do you think we should go all in for Dumfries? Please let me know in the comments. And if you want to stay on top of all breaking news, developments, and analysis from all this crazy transfer window, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss a single update. If you want to find me on Instagram, you can do so under Orrutio, which is my childhood nickname. Until next time, and Visca Barça.